Hey creator, I'm Ian Corzine, your social media lawyer. Thank you so much for joining me today on my live office hours. We're going to talk about today how to start an LLC to protect your YouTube channel. And so I'm really excited to talk about that because I've done some prior videos on LLCs and how important I believe they are to all of our channels and our online businesses because they protect us against various liabilities that I really am excited about bringing this to you and just kind of breaking it down for you so that you understand how important LLCs are, and also a step-by-step approach for getting your own LLC because it doesn't cost that much. It really is important. So first I want to start out by saying hi to people that are in the audience today. And Mung Bob is there. Hey, how are you? We got Gotcha Galaxy 101. Hi, I like that. And then we also have Ivan. He's here every single week. I'm so grateful to Ivan. Hey, how you doing? And then we have Papa Maynard. Welcome, Papa. Well, first of all, let's talk about what an LLC is. It's a limited liability company, and it is kind of like a separate entity in the world. You know, there's people and there's companies, and there's different types of companies, and one of them is called an LLC. And I always recommend when you want to form a business entity that you do an LLC because it's so flexible, whether it be tax considerations, whether it be membership in your business, whether it be, you know, ownership percentages. It's a very easy corporate structure to have. Now, why in the heck do you want an LLC? Why can't you just go through life being a sole proprietor, just, you know, owning your YouTube channel and owning your business as your own, and not having to worry about whatever this stupid corporate entity thing is? And the reason why you do that primarily is to protect yourself against liability. What's so great is the law allows us to create this kind of separate business person to stand in front of us and protect us from the liabilities that there are in business. So a good example is, let's say you have an employee and you want to have a business entity and the employee is there and, you know, gosh, you know, so you have to let the employee go. And so the employee sues you for wrongful termination. Oftentimes the employee is going to sue your company for wrongful termination. And God forbid there's a judgment or a settlement against you or your company. It is against the LLC. And so any of the assets that are in the LLC there can be, you know, transferred into a payment to the person who sued you, but not your personal assets. So not your house, not your car, not your cameras, not your YouTube channel. And so it's really important to have that kind of structure set in place so that you're protected personally from getting sued. And in the context of YouTube, you know, it could be a defamation situation. You know, a lot of us go out there and we give our opinions and we talk about different people, we, you know, critique or we comment, but sometimes what we say can be construed as false and could cause damage. And so someone who is affected by that, you know, another YouTube channel or just someone of the public or maybe even a celebrity could come against you and say, listen, you have committed defamation and you owe me $10,000 in damages because I wasn't able to get that contract as a result of your statements. And so then they bring a lawsuit. And if you had an LLC, they'd bring a lawsuit against your LLC because that's the company that owns your YouTube channel. And then they try to recover there. And hopefully they wouldn't recover. Hopefully you get out of the case and it wouldn't be a big deal. But if the worst were to happen, then at least you have that LLC as a buffer between you and the claimant, the person that's suing you. I also want to take a second moment to say hi to people that are here. Rachel, good to see you. I see you every week. I'm so glad to see you. Barefoot Sailing Adventures. You know what I really got to do is check out your channel. I apologize for not doing it sooner. It sounds like an awesome channel. We have SoCal Autofocus. I'm sure SoCal Autofocus has an LLC. Air Health is there. And I always pronounce this. Someday I want you to come on live and we can talk. Josu Vigia. I never know how to pronounce your first name, but thank you for being here. We got Gia Labum here and we got Darren. Darren, how are you? Good to see you. We have a Cryptids Roost and we have Zen Free Music. I like that. Zen Free. So maybe is it aggressive music? I don't know. We also have the ADHD Gardener. Thank you so much for being here. You probably need an LLC for your business too. We have Rastas Realities. Good to see you. Shout out to you. So let's do this. So we've already talked about why you need an LLC. It is a buffer between you and someone who's going to sue you. All right. So it's a really good protection to have, and it doesn't take too much of your time to do it. So really what you got to first focus on let's see where we're at. My monitor just changed. First thing you got to do is you got to figure out how you're going to do it. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. A lot of the different states have their own forms for formation of an LLC that are free. You can actually go on your state's Secretary of State's website and download the forms and just fill them out. We're talking about name, address, what your LLC will do, and it doesn't have to be very specific, and a couple other identifying information. And then you can pay a fee, and it just depends on the state. It could be $100, it could be $300, $500, whatever it is, to be able to register your articles of formation with the various Secretary of State, and then that will certify that you have an LLC recognized by a state. The next thing you got to do is you got to apply for an employer identification number. That's the number that you use with the IRS that allows you to pay your taxes for your LLC. So you need that. It's absolutely essential. And then the next thing you got to do is you got to have an operating agreement, and that agreement is something you can get online. You can get on my website in the template section. And basically, the operating agreement is the rules for your LLC, what you follow in your LLC. If you have a partner, if you have someone who owns an interest and you're 50-50 in this LLC, then this is the rules. What if a partner passes away? What if a partner wants to sell his interest in the LLC? How are you going to go forward with corporate decisions? Are you going to have meetings? All those things are the rules that are in the operating agreement that you need to agree upon. Again, it's easy. I swear to God, I think I advise you to seek the counsel of an attorney to get a specific LLC for your use. However, if at the bare minimum, you could actually get a pretty, a simple LLC agreement off the internet and be able to survive. The next thing you need to do is you need to have a bank account for your LLC, and you need an EIN for your bank account, the employment identification number. And so you'll go to your bank and you'll say, listen, if it's Ian LLC, I have just formed Ian LLC. Here's the articles of formation. Here is my EIN. And I would like to start this bank account. And then what you'll do is you'll take some money from your personal assets. So let's say it's $100 or $1,000, and you transfer that in the bank account. And then you make a formal note in your corporate records that the LLC has borrowed 100, 1,000, whatever it is, bucks from you, and will pay it back once the LLC starts making money. And then what you do from then on is you conduct business under the LLC's name. So you change the ownership of your YouTube channel to the LLC. When you have to buy that new camera that you just have to have, the EOS R5, I'm just joking, whatever it is, you buy that under the name of the LLC. Sometimes you have some funds available in the LLC right away to be able to pay for equipment for your YouTube channel. Sometimes you start a credit card. A lot of times when you start the bank account, you put the $1,000 in or whatever, the bank will offer you a credit card. And so you have credit in the name of the LLC, which you can use for business of the LLC, meetings, paying for lunch with a business person, or paying for your graphic designer, or paying for new equipment. Those kind of things can be things that can be expensed to your LLC. So those are the main functions or the main things you need to do to start your LLC. I'm losing the stream here, but I also want to say hi to some people here. We got Fade Angel. I love that. That's a sweet name. Rostas Realities. How are you? Dominic Johnson. Good to see you. Redfill Vegan. I like that. Haven't been a vegan yet, but I'm tempted. Air Health and Captain Jack. Good to see you. We got Michael Norana. Nice to see you. I started an LLC for YouTube use. You're very smart. That's what I advise all my creator clients to do, is to start LLCs for their YouTube channels. Then let's see. We have some questions here. Ian, being British, do we have LLCs here, or is it something more like an LTD? As far as I understand, and I am not an English lawyer, I speak English, but I'm an English lawyer, I believe that they don't have LLCs, they just have corporations, just like in Canada, I believe. I've talked to a number of different Canadians, and I have clients that are Canadians, and they do not have LLCs. So I believe it's a corporation, but the same analysis, it has the same analysis, and that is you need a corporate entity. In America, LLCs are great because they're so flexible. So a good example, I have an LLC for my YouTube channel. And what's so great about it is I expense my expenses. So like, this monitor that I'm looking at all of you on, that was purchased by my LLC. And then What's great is that any profits and losses that flow from your business come off of I've chosen to tax individually, so it'll come off my individual tax return. However, there's some people out there with larger LLCs that own property and maybe have a much bigger business, and so they've opted to be taxed like a corporation because there's some advantageous rule over there. So it's very flexible and you can change it at any time. So that's why I like about LLCs. Corporations are great, but they're usually for bigger businesses. And so if you just have a small, business like I do, you don't really need all the corporate formalities and doing the directors meetings and the officers meetings and all those kinds of things. LLC is real easy, real quick. You don't need to spend a lot of time on it. I also want to say, let's see, we got Tam's World. Good to see you, Tam. Let's see, we got Ivan. Do you think we can stop Trump from rigging the postal service, and how should we do it? Well, Ivan, that is a topic that I do want to talk about, but not on this show. We want to talk about LLCs today because we have limited time, but I will definitely talk about that. James NYC just formed an S Corp 2 weeks ago, took all of 10 minutes, and I totally agree with you. Doing this it's like, what they used to say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, I think it is. Honestly, I know it's maybe, like in California, we have a minimum tax of $800. So you've got to pay $800 a month or $800 a year if you have an LLC or a corporation, but it is so worth it because it protects you. And in that comment, James, I'm going to go straight over to the place that I recommend you form California LLCs or corporations. And let me just push it over to here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. This is a website called apeopleschoice.com. I've been sponsored by A People's Choice. I just want to let you guys know about that. But the reason I'm bringing it up to you is that if you would like to do a California LLC, there's some advantages to it. It's real easy. I think does it say the fees are? Yeah, it's real easy. You can even do an S corporation or a C corporation, but it's $399. But what you get out of this, what you don't if you do it yourself, is that all the forms you need. So, and also you get out of this, which is great, is they have actually live staff that are there to help you through the process. They can't answer legal questions, but they can answer questions about the forms that you're filling out. And so that's really advantageous. A lot of these services like Rocket Lawyer and LegalZoom, you just get these forms. You just get this book, because I've done it. You get this book and a lot of forms and you're like, okay, luckily I'm a lawyer, so I kind of know what I'm doing. But for a lot of people, they don't, and it's kind of, intimidating. So with this situation, you go through, you fill out a form, initial form, like this, and you just go through screen after screen, all the essentials, then get input in the actual forms needed by the Secretary of State, and boom, depending upon if you choose Rush or not, you're going to have your LLC formed really quickly. So I would recommend, if you guys ever want to do a California LLC, that you go to apeopleschoice.com. They also have other stuff like, you can divorces and probate and wills and trusts. I mean, they got everything here. So if you're ever in the area or you need for some sort of California legal documents and then some case management help with that, apeopleschoice.com is where to go. We got Dancing with Fatherhood. Hello. Good to see you, Dancing. I've never seen you before, and I'm so glad you're here. Air Heath is here. Captain Jack. Good to see you, Captain. And then let's get some questions here. Should I make my name in caps so people stop calling me Health? I know. It's so ironic. I just did that. I guess the answer is yes. Captain Jack, would it be better to create a Corp holding company if you plan to have more than one LLC? You know what? That's a question for your tax attorney. And let me just switch it over to the normal here. That is a question for your tax attorney. However, you don't need to. I mean, I have multiple actually I have corporation and LLC. So yeah, you don't need to. You can have multiple LLCs. I do advise that you have LLCs for every piece of property you own. It doesn't cost that much. And you got to remember what the situation is. If you have a guest come over, whether it's a rental situation or maybe just a private residence, and they trip and fall, and sometimes this happens, then you get sued for some sort of negligence. Again, that's the reason to have an LLC, to sit right in front of you and protect you from that liability. So at least when it comes to real estate, I would have, let's say you own 5 properties. I'd have 5 LLCs. Do you need a holding company to hold those? First of all, you don't. There may be some tax advantage that a tax attorney could give you advice on, but you don't need to. You can just have multiple, LLCs or corporations. So Rachel, who specifically is the best person to help set up an LLC for my YouTube channel to help figure out to set up correctly, decide between an S Corp and well, who specifically? I mean, if you wanted to set up an online consult at iancorzine.com, I would be happy to help you on a one-on-one decide between the advantages of an S Corp and the advantages of an LLC. No problem. As far as the actual formation, guys, from the beginning of law in America and a lot of different countries, lawyers have been doing this for you. And I think it's a very smart thing. If you have the means, you have some startup capital and you want to go to a lawyer to handle it all, I think it's important. However, I also want to give you the option because I believe in you creators. I am one of you, and we don't always have the most amount of money. So like I showed you with peopleschoice.com, $3.99 is, you can start your corporation, not have to deal with a lawyer and basically get the same service. Now, the reason why lawyers are important is because they will custom draft your operating agreement. They'll custom draft some of the documents that they're there. And also they'll hold your corporate records for you. So you can, if you ever need help or something, you can call them up and they can say, hey, I'm looking at your documents right here. And it says his, blah, 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 blah. So they will help. But again, if you're short on cash, all right, $400 gets you an LLC. And at least then you have some protection against liability in case you're ever in a situation on a YouTube channel. And, a lot of us are in that situation. I do a lot of commentary on my channel and, it's worrisome sometimes because especially if we're on a live, you never know what the heck you're going to say or how you're going to offend someone and if they're going to bring a lawsuit against you. So I always advise if you're doing any sort of public facing business or just public facing, just giving your opinions out there, that you start that LLC to protect you. And I think you won't be sorry when you do. Alicia G, how are you? Well, I'm in California. Great. Yeah, Alicia, I would recommend peopleschoice.com. Real easy to do it. And again, it's different than the Rocket Lawyer and the LegalZoom and all the other ones. Those are just forms. These people actually help you out along the way, and they're live, so it's way better. When do I actually require an LLC? I have 150 subscribers to date. This is a great question. I've gotten this one multiple times. This is Zindahi. She says, when do I actually require an LLC? I have 150 subscribers till date. How big? Well, you know what? I want to save. I'm here to help you and save you guys money. 150 may not be the time for an LLC. It all depends upon your risk profile. If you have a channel where all you do is make pottery and it's like you don't see your face, you don't make any statements, it's music and you're making pottery, the chances of you getting sued are probably smaller than if you have a conservative opinion channel or something and you're out there saying Donald Trump is not good or Joe Biden is not good or whatever, or you're commenting on public events. There's a little bit more of a risk there. So it all depends on your risk. I always say that, when you start getting monetized, I think you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched, that's a good kind of marker for the LLC time. Maybe before that, you don't have it. But again, I just want to say this. I mean, it really depends on your channel because you could have 3 subscribers, but you start making false statements. Maybe they're accidental. Maybe you didn't know they were false, and you get sued. So again, I mean, technical answer, when you start a YouTube channel, get an LLC. Less risk when you're earlier in your subscriber count and you're building up. But certainly by the time you're monetized, I think it's really important. I really do. Let's see. Laugh my ass off. Gonna rebrand eventually. Air Heath. Everybody just say in your rooms, wherever you're at, say Air Heath. Okay. So when he comes back, we will always say it right. Let's see. Dancing with Fatherhood. I'm a new vlogger. So happy. Let's bring the vlog back. I am a big, part of the reason why I do what I do is I watch YouTube videos a lot. And I got to tell you, easily 30 to 40% of the videos I watch are vlogs. I love the real life action, the fact that the people are present when they're making the recordings and it's not all scripted and planned. So thank you, Dancing. Please keep doing it. The key to doing well on social media is being consistent. So when you make that commitment that you're going to do a video a week or a video every 2 weeks, make sure you honor that commitment. Ron, good to see you. All right. I'm glad you're here. Meme community, I'm late. What's an LLC? All right, it'd be cool if I could push a button and it would rewind everything I just said. I'll be real brief. The reason why you have an LLC is it protects you from liability from lawsuits. So for your business. So if you have a situation where you're being sued, you do not want to put your personal assets, your home or your bike or your car at issue for that lawsuit. You want to have a front-facing corporate entity that protects you. So it's almost like a wall. And when they shoot the arrows of the lawsuit, it hits the wall and it doesn't hit your house and make it on fire. So that's why you want it. And then the other reason just to remember is that it's just such a small amount of money. I know $400, is a lot of money, but it's a smaller amount of money in the context to be able to get that protection you need. One of these lives, I'm going to talk about insurance because that's another area where I have a specialty in there, because there's two ways to protect yourself in business. And the main ones are LLCs or corporations and insurance. But getting that LLC is a really, really good start to protecting you, to protecting those assets. You've said something that you made a mistake and it was false and it caused damage to someone. Someone lost a gig as a result of what you said. So they sued you for the amount of money they were going to make on that gig. And so you're like, oh my gosh, if you were a sole proprietor and did not have a corporation, then let's say it was a $35,000 gig. Then if you lost that case, that $35,000 is coming out of your personal assets. If you had an LLC, on the other hand, that was owning your YouTube channel, that $35,000 is coming out of the LLC's assets. And you go, well, Ian, I don't have $35,000 worth of assets in my LLC. Great. Worst case scenario, you have to bankrupt your corporation, but you're not bankrupting yourself if you lose a court case. So that's the point. Cryptids Roost. I have only been YouTubing for around 3 months, so have approximately 66 subs and 347 views. Is it worthwhile to do LLC or an LTD yet? Wait till I grow a bit. Yeah, Cryptid, that's the kind of what we just talked about. I think the risk is lower at that stage, especially when you're not monetized. I might use the monetization mark as your time to do the LLC. I do think certainly by then you should do it. But again, I think all of you guys are going to grow, because I know you're in it for the long haul. I know a lot of you watch a lot of the, Brian G. Johnson and Roberto Blake. You're all in it for the long haul. So if you can spare it at this stage, you could literally be at your computer and form your LLC right after we do this discussion. You could go to a People's Choice, you go to Rocket Lawyer, you can go to LegalZoom and get it done. And that way you can have a little bit more peace of mind as you go forward through this stuff. BlackBerry New, you can also say, if you sow me, I'm going to weep. Oh, I don't know what that means. Boom, boo clap. Huh. I've never heard that legal term. Dominique Johnson, I have a weight loss vlog channel. I love that. Will an LLC be eventually required for me? I do talk about products or tips I use. Yes, Dominique, I have to emphasize to you, that is a huge area, right? You're a couple, I'm a liability freak. So I'm always walking around looking, I'm with my daughters and I'm looking for issues that are popping up. So first of all, vlog channel. You could say something that was by accident that hurt someone, that caused them damage. That's one thing, because you're out there, you're moving around. You could include someone in one of your shots. They could get an issue. It could be, they could argue that it's an invasion of their privacy, sue you. There's that. And then if you're either repping products or giving reviews. One is, if you're giving reviews, you could say something that someone is offended by. A product's defended by, and then there could be a legal action there. Or you can get a situation where you are working with a brand and there's a contract, and you could potentially violate a contract term. Maybe they're requiring you to do something that you don't feel comfortable doing. And so as a result, you get sued for breach of contract. Again, having that LLC, when I say you get sued, it's Dominique LLC that gets sued, not Dominique, with her personal assets. So that's really important. Ron Trains and Things. I have been on YouTube for 3.5 years. Congratulations. That's awesome. Have nearly 30,000 subs. That's amazing. And I'm now just setting up my LLC. Should have done sooner. Well, Ron, better late than never, right? So I'm really glad. First of all, congratulations. That is an amazing accomplishment. Kill it out there. I love it. Trains and Things sounds cool to me anyway. But I'm glad you're doing it now. Again, a little ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So that's really smart. All right. We welcome Fast Supercars. We have Coup Gaming. How do I process the LLC thing in my YouTube channel? I think that's what you're saying. Well, what you do is you form that LLC, kind of going through, if you look at the earlier part of the live, I described some of the steps, or you could just go to one of those legal document preparation places like People's Choice or Rocket Lawyer, like we talked about before. And then you just go into that section in YouTube where you're able to, I'm looking at it right now, where you're able to change the owner of the channel or add channel managers. And you just make an owner of the channel your LLC. So my LLC is an owner of my channel, And so that's how you convert it. And then what you do, just to remind you guys, is just like we talked about with the loan that you make when you put the money in the bank for your LLC, you also have to write another document that says that you personally, so in my case, Ian Corzine, has transferred ownership of my YouTube channel to the LLC. And usually you do it in exchange for a small amount, $10. So for $10, Ian Corzine personally transfers forever the Ian Corzine YouTube channel to Ian LLC. So you make that note in your corporate record. So that's how you transfer it over. And then if there's ever a question about who owns your YouTube channel, you're able to produce those documents, those corporate records, and that will prove that you made that transfer on that date that you did it. All right, we got more. Fade Angel, I only got 10 subs in 11 months. Wow. Well, Fade, this guy's asking for subs, so maybe you should go over to Fade Angel's channel and see if you can help him. Doing Hawaii, aloha everyone. Are there different types of LLCs? Well, there's different types of LLCs per state. The LLC, when we refer to it now generically, is the same. I've said in my YouTube videos, I call it a YouTube LLC, and I just do it for short. Basically, I mean an LLC that's formed to own your YouTube channel. But most of the time, the rights of an LLC are all the same virtually through the states. So I actually have my fiance lives in Hawaii, and so she actually has multiple LLCs, and I know Hawaiian law supports LLCs, and there's a lot of them there, and they're fairly easy to form too. Let's see. Okay, so we have more questions here. Air Heath. I review replica sneakers, and I definitely don't want Nike sending me letters. So this is going to have to happen, I'm afraid. Yeah, I mean, don't be afraid. Honestly, it's really not a complicated process. It's really a matter of, I would, work with a legal document preparation company, and paying the fee, saving up the money, paying the fee, and then just answering the questions. What's great, if you go to the Secretary of State's office and do it for free, you have to find the documents and then the PDFs, and then you actually have to go through and answer the questions that go. A lot of these document preparation companies, all you do is you just fill out the online form, and they do the work of converting it into the legal forms. You don't have to do any legal stuff that's uncomfortable. You just have to put your name, the address of the LLC, what the LLC does, the date, those kinds of things to answer these questions, and then they do all the work. So, for a relatively inexpensive amount, like with the People's Choice, we just looked at it. I think, what was it again? Did I say it again? Yeah, People's Choice, it's $3.99. For a relatively, small amount of money, I'm showing you the People's Choice. I think right here, it's the $3.99 price there, or even a corporation is even cheaper. You could have them do all the legalese stuff, and you won't have to deal with it. If you ever have a question, though, when it comes to the operating agreement, sometimes that's kind of where the lawyer comes in. You could always come to me, go to iancorzine.com and schedule a consult, get on my calendar, and we could kind of go through your operating agreement, make sure that it supports your YouTube channel and your partners on your channel. A lot of people have partners on their channels, so that's really important. Let's see, Dominique, could I move my YouTube channel to operate under my current LLC, or do I need a separate one? You could just have it operate under a separate one, which is probably advisable. It just depends on what your other LLC does. If your other LLC owns a piece of property, then you may want to separate it because, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of liabilities out there for property. And so you may want to have as many assets as you can to discharge liability on one LLC. However, if your other LLC is like, I had a client the other day talk about his one LLC is an Amazon affiliate company, or he has an Amazon product and he sells stuff. He's like, he wanted to know if he could transfer his LLC into the Amazon LLC, and I was like, sure. I mean, your liability, you don't sell a whole lot of product. Your liability is not that big, so you certainly could just make the LLC own your YouTube channel too. It's better than nothing, right? So if you could afford it to have separate LLCs per business interest, I would do that. But if you can't at this stage, it's better to have all your businesses under one umbrella so you have some protection as opposed to none. Let's see. Okay. Relax, Heal, Calm 365. I lost 282 watch hours every time I get close to 4,000 watch hours, YouTube takes it away. What can I do about it? Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm really sorry about that. That is absolutely frustrating. I don't know. I'd have to look at the unique dynamic of your channel, and I'd be happy to do that. Again, if you guys ever need specific legal advice on your channel, you're going through copyright problems. I had a guy on who has a great channel the other day. We did a consult, and I was able to get his channel back. I think he had 90,000 subscribers, and he was terminated without notice. We got on the phone and we did on a Zoom call, and we were able to get his channel back within, I want to say, 1 or 2 days. So if you guys have issues that come up, or you have friends and other creators that have issues, they're copyright issues, you need to, for me to review the channel and give my legal opinion, I can do that you can set, time up on my calendar at iancorzine.com. So those are the things that really are areas that I could help you with, whether it be the LLCs, the copyright, the trademark issues, and I'd be happy to do that. We are coming to an end of our time. We got 3:31. I just want to make sure that I am answering the questions you have. Are you only answering questions on LLCs? Hey, John, good to see you. Yeah, today that's what I'm doing. I'm just doing LLCs. But if you have more questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll just bring them up in for next live. One last question here I got. Hey, the Green Viking, good to see you. Meme Community says, isn't an LLC a bit similar to an MCN? And no, they're not. There are MCNs that are LLCs, but no, an MCN actually manages your channel, takes over your channel and takes some of your revenue, give you some ad bonuses. If you would like to learn more about what MCNs do, I did a video in my library. Just type in MCN, and you'll be able to learn everything you want to know about MCNs. You got to be careful about signing MCN contracts. Some of them are long-term, and I have lots of friends in the creator industry that have been burned by MCNs, so be careful. All right, Rachel, I got to go. It says here, I'm nearing 100,000 subs. I cannot believe this. And I recently watched your contest vlog. Are you allowed to capture emails when doing a giveaway? And do you have a favorite contest software program? I use King Sumo. That's the one I think I use. As far as emails, capture an email, you have to have the permission to be able to display, written words of some other person. So I would definitely do that. But a lot of times in those contests, you just have a disclaimer or something that comes along with it. Or what I do is I contact the contest winner and say, listen, I want to showcase you on my channel or on my Instagram channel or account, and I get permission that way. But I always get permission before I put the words of another person online. And again, the reason why is I don't want to be sued, because if I get sued, but if I am sued, luckily I have an LLC to protect me, and I want all of you to get an LLC. I got to go. Guys, have a great, happy Friday.